What's up, guys? It's your girl, Chrys on the one and only FUBU Radio. You know, I'm glad you tapping in and locked in, but you know the only way to truly stay tapped is to close. What else? Follow me. All right. Welcome, everybody. It's your girl, Chrys. Do not ask me why. And we got Mr.
Keeyzo in the building.
You know, whenever we link up, we here and primed to have a good conversation. And we want you to chime in, to do that, hit the link, follow us, go to FUBUradio.com, official FUBU Radio, Chrys Childs with that Y, and Mr. Keeyzo. You know what I'm saying? We want you to stay involved in the conversation because these things affect us. It's for us, by us, for a reason, right?
Yes, sir.
I love that. Thank you. All right, so, we got lots to talk about. I'm going to hone in on something specifically, but, in doing my little research, I came across something today. So apparently there was a bill being passed to basically take away the fact that it was illegal to cheat on your spouse. Did you know that it's illegal to cheat on your spouse since 1902 in New York? I'm talking about like 3 months of jail and a fine.
What?
Yes.
Nobody ever... put that in motion because I all these cheating Negroes and folks out here.
In 2024, we're talking about 122 years later, they're dismantling the law. Now, what I will say is since 1970, this is crazy, right? So since 1970, there's actually only been a dozen cases presented to the court with only about 5 or 6 actually being prosecuted and doing jail time. But the thing about it is it just goes to show how many laws there actually are that we don't know exist. Because the thing about it is if people knew, it's not about the fact that, nobody ever did it, but if people knew, they would be taking up their husbands and wives all day to court, getting them jail time for cheating. Maybe you might see less marriages.
I've never heard of that, so that's crazy.
I'm actually, I would have liked to see.
How do you find it?
How do I find these things? I don't know. I just go down a rabbit hole. But I would have liked to see how society would have shaped had people known that was an option. I actually just saw a Korean show that actually showed me that it was illegal for them to actually cheat on their spouse. They would do jail time and whatever have you. And it was just eradicated, I think, in 2013. So to figure that out, that they eradicated it more than 10 years ago in New York City, was just like, there's this law that people don't use, but we were just kind of keeping it just in case.
It's almost like the traffic law. Like there's so many laws regarding traffic, and if you don't understand them or don't know them,
it's like that's your fault if you don't know it. But that just goes to show you how much we don't know about the law, which actually brings us into our next thing, because I know it's been all over everybody's headlines. Did he do it? Did he not? And it's kind of messed up because we're seeing it unfold. Obviously, this all started with the Cassie case, right? Obviously, it was brought to him. Maybe he couldn't settle because it was tied in with his other stuff, like his companies and shareholders and whatnot. And, when it finally did become public, that was paid in under 24 hours. But that's kind of what started the firestorm, because now we're seeing all these allegations, etc. Now, what I do want to clarify is people think okay, his house got raided and that means something. The reality of it is right now he is in a civil suit.
It's not even criminal.
It's not a criminal case. And to show you how far they actually go to try to incriminate and give the public eye of how they want you to look at people. Come in. It's all right. We got Sophia on deck. She about to sit down right now. She walking in. All right. But talking about Diddy here, and the fact that it's a civil case. The reality of it is we're in a court of opinion, public opinion, and they want to make it look as bad as possible. Now, we're going to open up the floor for talking about it, but we have to say something here. He's responsible for a whole era of music and shaped how we interact with each other and what we listen to and what we love. But
what we drink,
right. How we market, it's just, I don't like how it's going. And I know people are mad at him for what they couldn't get him on, mad about the contracts, mad that he's dancing in everybody's videos. And this is what it seems like people are using as the witch hunt to make this. I'm not saying he's a great guy. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the way they ran up in the house with the guns, with the kids and all that, I mean, that wasn't even called for. And then you have people out here that's doing or accused. Let's get the right terminology. Accused and allegedly doing the same thing or accused of the same thing, and they just go scot-free. It'd be 10, 15, 20 years, and you don't see anything that
it goes to show
in comparison that what happened to him happened to anybody else.
It's not a matter of it not happening, because then they'll bring up, okay, Epstein actually went to jail, whatever have you. And
how long was Epstein doing that?
I know. He was doing it for a while.
But it was out.
Island.
It was out that he was
knew.
doing it, and people knew he was doing it, and princes and presidents, and it just depends on.
Oh no, of course. It's honestly, look how they're playing it out. It's the demonization of our main components. We have R. Kelly in jail. We have Bill Cosby in jail. They're looking to throw the book at Diddy for a lot of reasons. And at this point, for it to be a civil suit, we're talking about civilians actually making a lawsuit saying Diddy did X, Y, and Z, which is sparking some type of investigation where they want to get access to things, but they did not have to use fire like that. They didn't have to arrest the kids. They didn't have to do all this. Again, they are trying to build a case, but based on what? You have people trolling. I think everybody saw there was a kid that was outside. He's like, I live next door. He brings underage girls in. Obviously, that's not true. But people are using this 5 minutes of fame to say what they need to say. And I just don't like the bandwagon and the demoralization of somebody just because you don't like them. Yeah. This is a witch hunt.
He's going through what he's going through. And we were talking earlier, it's like, I don't kick anybody when they're down, because I don't know what's truth. I don't know what's going on. So it could be true. It may be not true. I don't know. And we all don't know. Everybody's speculating. You know what I mean? So let the man have his day in court, and then we go from there. But
exactly.
I've seen the videos, the dancing videos on the plane. You saw that one?
No.
I'm like, yo, these dudes, it just happened yesterday. And the next day, this video has like 170,000 or 17,000 likes already. And I'm like...
No, people are really jumping on the back. And what's crazy is they raided that house like they were going to release 40 girls from the basement. I almost halfway expected like people to be snuck out.
Yeah.
It was insane and a gross display of misuse of our justice system, because that wasn't necessary. It could have been done quietly. They did it so that they can embarrass him, so that we can have an opinion on his guilt. Because then what happens when they get ready to pick the jury for the criminal case that they're trying to build? You're already planting the seed that this is a bad guy, because nobody's saying civil suit. Everybody's automatically thinking he's a criminal. And let's also go back to a time. I hate to bring this up, but at the end of the day, let's talk about these parties and who he was to the culture.
The ones that they don't want to talk about.
Right, who he was to the culture, all his affiliations, all the artists, all the music, the money, the drugs. A lot of these, people, especially when it came to the Cosby era, we talked about it before, people participated in things and maybe thought that there was going to be a different outcome, and now everything is coming out. Now, I do understand it's hard for victims to say and tell their truths, so we're not taking that away. But again, this is a witch hunt trying to get him from the side because you couldn't get him from the front.
Yep.
And those other cases you were talking about were criminal cases.
Yeah, those were criminal cases.
It's a civil case. So,
exactly. Exactly.
When I saw the way they went up in there with their guns and everybody, with their guns drawn, and like they were going in there for battle, like they were about to shoot the place up, and I just couldn't understand that.
Yes.
Like if you're doing a raid and you're looking for things, you don't come like that.
That's a warrant situation.
Yeah.
We have a warrant to confiscate your computers. We have a warrant to confiscate your phones or to look into your safe or whatever, because again, they're looking for evidence for a civil suit. A day in court with whoever is accusing him of these things. Now, and we don't even know what the actual accusations are. No one said child pornography or they are using the word sex trafficking, but again, it's just like it's starting to become an overused word. Sex trafficking. It's like when everybody was saying gaslighting. Like it's a real term, but everybody was using it to the point where it's just like, all right, okay, you're not using it.
Yeah, like you don't even know what kind. You don't know what
context. And then
you're
you don't know
in.
who to believe, because everybody's reporting, different things.
But it's like, even with that too, a lot of it is obvious when it comes, like you guys are saying, like, they're just jumping on a bandwagon because everybody wants their 5 minutes of fame from the situation, because either they don't like Diddy, or it's like you're young and you're bored and you want to just shake the block up for a second just because this is what's hot right now. And that's the problem.
But What I will say is I hate that everybody is celebrating it because, it ultimately comes down to who you are as a person, right? Yep. Everything that's done in the dark will come to light. We might never know what happened behind those closed doors, but we do know that people were upset with him because of his business dealings. It taught you to read your contracts, if anything, because again, these were things that were put into play. People signed bad deals, but again, what type of person are you to really ride the coattails of someone and make sure that you take all of their earnings off of their artistry, and I think a lot of people are still angry about that. But it's when you do messed up things to people, whether we know the details or not, people don't like you for a reason. People have something to say for you a reason. You had to use money to coerce whoever to do something for a reason because it didn't come naturally. And these are the dark things that come in a form of karma. Now, I'm not saying that he fully deserves to be persecuted in this way where his character is assassinated at this level without any facts. But at the same time, only he knows what he did and how this feels to come back around. Exactly. And I think that's the lesson too. How you live, whether you start making it right at the end or not, it's almost too late to start making things right at the end. Because again, he was at a point where he was redeeming himself, giving people their masters and renegotiating contracts. And, again, we see a lot of good things because again, where there's bad, there's good, but also where there's good, there's bad.
And then it's like, even with doing stuff like that, when he started switching around and then you're seeing all this, then it's like, something's coming for you then because you're trying to make your rights. But it's like, again, like you said, it's too late. It's like your fate is already there. You planted that a long time ago.
Well, what
and
could
like you said, do? What you do in the dark comes to the light.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, are we at a point where some things are just unforgivable? Is that what we're saying?
Well, you take accountability and you move forward, and again, you accept whatever consequences come from it.
That's true. Consequences are part of the growth and the acceptance.
Yep.
And then you don't know, like, what I hate about people, the blogs, the social media, is that you can put any narrative out there.
Yep.
And people are going to run 16 different ways with it. And before you know it, you have 40, 50 different posts about what happened. So you really don't know exactly what happened. They say the guy Little Rod is the reason why, he was telling the authorities that Puff was sex trafficking him across the country, and so they ran up in there from him. Then I saw another thing about Torre. I'm not the host Torre. His Tory, however you say his name, but he his cousin or nephew or something was interning for Diddy, and Diddy tried to told him if he don't go to bed with him, he's not his intern anymore. I mean, he's saying it must be true coming out of his mouth, and people are just gonna run with that. So you just have people running with everything. Look at us. We sold our company in 1998. It's 2024. What we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? We still here, and people are still saying, "Oh, I thought you sold the company." So it's just whatever narrative that these people put out there. People are gonna believe what they want to believe, and unfortunately, it's kind of messed up. You know what I'm saying? That it's almost like once something is out there, you gotta fight and claw your way back just to say it's not true.
But even in that, to protect your peace, and because again, people are gonna say whatever they want. So it's like you got to decide, like, if you're gonna live in your truth, you're gonna stand 10 toes on what you know that your body is, and you can't let anything outside affect that. Because again, people are gonna talk regardless. So it's like if you keep letting it set you back, it's gonna keep bringing you back.
Facts. I mean, listen, it's definitely, we're going to definitely see it unfold. We're going to definitely see it unwind. But again, it goes for these people that are in the accusing situation too. I'm not saying I know everybody's story, but what I will say is when you hear a lot of the statements, he said, if I don't do this, then I can't. That goes to show also our human and blind ambition, what we're willing to bend to in order to succeed. Because the reality of it is, I'm grateful, in my position and what I've bumped into and, my life in general. And I definitely say that, there are some precarious situations that I think like, well, damn, everybody's suing for something, And the reality of it is things will be presented to you. It's no different than any story in the Bible, any fable, any story that tells you, like, again, good versus evil. You're going to be presented with choices. And it's up to you to decide, what's worth those choices. Because men will come up to you and be like, listen, baby, I got $50,000 on this table. What you willing to do for it? Yep. And depending on your frame of mind.
Hey.
Exactly. Because, some people do a little something strange for change.
Every day.
And the more change it is, the stranger it gets. And
facts.
I'm telling you, I got people in my DMs every day like, sell your feet.
And that's on the light side.
And that's like, but it gets real weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo.
I think that's like super pedo. Like, man, I don't know, man. I just
the fetishes.
Like, I guess I came up with a time where I was just cooler than that. Like, we had to figure out.
You don't have to do that.
Right.
It
no, but I mean, like, I remember back in the days, I would be in the house talking to the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, baby.
Hey, baby.
What's up? Nah, wait. Hey, love. How you doing? Like, try to figure out my mojo.
Am I?
I just never be like straight up just raw. Like, I just never been that.
Nah. I went to the bachelorette party. We went and gambled a little bit, and I was hanging out with the girls, and we was running around the casino. And the girl was like just saying something about a ticket and trying to get somebody to buy the ticket. And these men were like, well, does she come with it? Sir, sex trafficking is illegal. I do not come with what your conversation is saying, because there was money involved. So again, the question is as old as time. Prostitution is old as time. You can only give what you can barter.
Yep.
And the reality of it is some people barter their sexuality to get ahead. Now, I understand it could be uncomfortable. You can be under the influence, drugs, things are happening around you, peer pressure, which normally you might not make these decisions. But that's why it really does become up to us on how we're going to navigate through that. Because as a woman, it is much harder. Okay, anybody, I don't care what nobody say, you will never be as strong as a man. You have to be 10 times more alert, 10 times more on point. Yep. You have to go in there with reason and purpose, because if you just there just to be there, have no reason, no purpose, you're not paying attention, you're a mark.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're a mark. And we have to realize that as women that, everybody that pretend to be your friend ain't your friend. Yep. So I'm sorry to the people that were affected in these cases, but again, just
because we're not saying that they weren't affected. Right. We just don't know the whole situation that, and you're never going to know until the facts are presented. So
again, there's three sides to the story.
Is everything else right now speculation.
Even then, you'll still not know, unless we're on some Black Mirror-ish where we can just rewind that back and look at it real quick. You're never really going to see it. And the thing about it is we also all of us, the do-gooders and the evildoers, we all have to take accountability for our own actions and how things play out. We can live a boring life, but you can also be safe and alive.
Yep.
And sometimes it takes those decisions, and things happen. Just try your hardest to kind of avoid it, because if it's not this, it's going to be the next thing.
Yep. It's always something.
Even to segue off of that a little bit, I was talking about Freaknik. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Oh yeah.
You saw it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because I was telling my wife, I said, one year I went down there and I had a camera, right? And when I came back, I had nothing but booty pictures on the camera. There was no pictures of me. There was no pictures of my boys. It was just, and I felt like a straight perv. And I stopped.
You were looking through it. You were like, yo.
I was like, what are you doing? Like, is it, what came over me? I was young. I was in my teens, when I was there. But
it was also the environment.
Yeah, it was the environment. I never seen anything like that. And I was like, wow, let me click. But when I got back and I looked at my pictures, it didn't have one picture that. It wasn't no face to the butt.
You could have sold a magazine.
It wasn't anything. So I'm looking at myself like a perv, and I'm like, I ain't going to that Freaknik thing no more. And then I stopped going for a couple years, and then when I went back later on, maybe like 3-4 years later, it was a different vibe.
That's what I heard.
So when I'm looking at the story, when I was watching the story, I'm like, wow, it's true, because when you first went, it was more about fun and just taking pictures and just having fun, to almost being assaulted walking down the street. And I seen guys, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I don't get away from here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to be associated with that. And then it kind of died after that. But
Things that were meant to be fun often turn a certain way. People like change the scope of it, because even like the Puerto Rican Day Parade, it used to be a fun thing. You go out there and they're cleaning it up, but there was that one time where it's like you could not go in that crowd. Things were happening, and it's messed up because again, it's you have to monitor yourself. You have to monitor what potential people are thinking. I think they say when you're driving, you're not driving for yourself, you're driving for other people. It's the same thing. You're not just living for yourself, but you have to watch and live for other people and think about the potentials. It could drive you crazy. So I'm not trying to drive you into paranoia here, but we're just talking about circumstances can sometimes put you in a circumstance you don't want to be in.
Yeah. And it's all about choices. Everybody has a choice. And I didn't understand that until I got maybe in my late 20s. And then I start realizing it's me that's going to make my life go either left or right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just everything that I do revolves around the decisions that I make and the choices that I make.
The more mature you get, you realize you're the master of your own universe.
Yeah.
And you'll sit there and be like, this happened to me, like, this is crazy, like, I'm like, I could never win. Like, no, you winning on the other side.
And then you start thinking about, I did do this.
Right.
And that just
like,
happened.
I couldn't park over there, want to pay that $150.
Listen, gotta pay attention. Now, here's the real question here. All right, and this is I need to hear from you guys. Hit us up on the socials. But they took away R. Kelly, and they don't want us listening to R. Kelly. They took away Bill Cosby. They don't want us watching Bill Cosby because, again, they feel like it ties into letting them feel like it's okay what they did. Are we going to get rid of... Though. I mean, you have to look for it and search for it.
Yeah, I saw it.
And I don't have TV. I have to stream, and I have to search real hard for Bill Cosby. I was looking for it the other day because that's the question. Like, are y'all still watching this? Because I'm not getting rid of a discography because you guys want to criminalize someone in the court of public opinion. They
don't do it. Look at Elvis. Elvis is one of the most highest soul artists of all time. He married a 14-year-old? Was she like 14?
And he's still the basis of a lot of weddings.
Was it Jerry Lee Lewis?
Yeah, he married his cousin. She was about 13.
Listen, there was a lot going on.
And that's what I'm getting to. When it comes to our culture, they want us to eradicate our culture from our system because somebody did something bad. Now, again, this is not about condoning someone's behavior, but I'm not eradicating part of my culture, part of how I grew up, because y'all angry at this man and y'all trying to demonize something that, it was a time that was had.
Yeah. Because they know too.
I always feel like one thing don't have nothing to do with the other. Like, if this man made great music, but he was troubled, in another sense, then that part is no bueno. You know what I'm saying? But his music is his music is his music. Bill Cosby didn't bring whatever personality he had wherever he was doing to the Cosby Show, so you don't see that on the Cosby Show.
And it's hard too because there's also other people involved in these things. It's not just the artist or the actor, So again, all the other actresses and actors on the Bill Cosby Show, everybody that was a part of the production of Elvis's music, it's like they didn't know what they were getting themselves into, and even
that's
if
where
they
the real
did,
trafficking comes in at.
Exactly.
Those are the people that are peddling and making things sure, sneaking, shielding the cameras, and that's who we need to really be questioning too, because you want to believe the celebrities, which absolutely, hold them accountable for anything that you can prove, because money does go a long way with that too. But again, this is what we're talking about with power. The reality of it is when we're talking about our counterparts, anybody outside of us, we're talking about the level of power, the level of connections, community, etc. It just literally goes further than we realize.
And it's crazy because it ties back, because there's always the question is like, why is Diddy so powerful? And it's like people don't realize, like, he brought hip hop to that side. He made it comfortable for them to be around a certain demographic of people. So it's like he has respect from a lot of different people for putting them in a lane that they never thought they could get to. And it's hard. How do you sit there and go against something that made you?
They don't want to admit it. They want to be mad at something.
But like you said, it's three sides to every story. Like, I know people, I've been in that arena where I've seen people gravitate to people like that because of their power, because of what they can do for them, are willing to do whatever they need to do or have to do to get in a position.
Yep.
it's not right to some people who were abused. Yeah, that's not right. But then I do know some people who were willing participants.
That's
You know what
where
I'm
it
saying?
messes
Right.
up. And I think that's what we need to
Right.
draw the line here, because again, we're not trying to throw out the victims and their account on things. But because there were people that were willing participants, like you say, people that got there and said, I will do whatever to
Right.
bask in this. They're the ones that mess it up for the people that were genuinely wronged, because then
Yep.
they come to the forefront. Like, this happened to me, that happened to me. And it makes it hard to believe when you find out, no, girl, you like them golden showers.
Yep.
And, no, you was forcing them pills down these people's throats. Like, well, you brought the pills, girl.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's where it messes up the account of the actual people that were wrong. And
Yep.
now you can't tell who genuinely was hurt and who's trying to come up for a come up. And that's where it gets muddy, because the people that are trying to bring this up for the come up usually play the dirtiest.
Yep.
They say the worst types of things happen to them, which pale in comparison to what actually happened to real victims.
Right.
It's messed up.
Like I've seen girls look like, like you ever see a bird feed his children, his little birdie, and the birds be like,
Oh,
their
yeah.
mouth open like that.
That be them.
I literally
Yeah,
see
like-
girls in clubs and parties with their mouth open, with guys are just throwing ecstasy in their mouth. And not one girl, not two girls, it could be 5, 6, 10 girls. And they're all like, everybody wants to have fun and party.
In the moment.
But then when things go left, and then you got to understand too, like, you can't put yourself in a position that things bad will happen to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, people say, well, I didn't know that this was going to happen or he was going to do the girl. You was already, already all the way down that street already. Like, you didn't just step on the street.
Right.
You was
did
walking
what
all the
you
way
did.
down the street, you know?
In the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate when people do take advantage of people, because that's what people do. That's what some people do. But you got to protect yourself. You always got to
Yeah.
watch out for yourself, And then even with me, like me now not drinking, I feel so much more relaxed. I can't get pulled over for drinking. If I hit somebody, I won't be drunk. I went to, yesterday, my nephew got killed in October 29th, 2022,
Sorry.
by getting in a car with a drunk driver. His sentences were yesterday, and we all went down there. But I was explaining to my sister, I said, listen, you can get behind the wheel after having a couple of drinks and hit somebody and kill somebody, and you'll be just like that person sitting in that seat. No matter what you say, what you do, your responsibility was not to get behind that wheel under the influence. And you can say what you want, but people will scrutinize you just like they doing this man right now, because he, killed their son. That can be you. Just by making the wrong decision, drinking and get behind the wheel.
Absolutely. And like I said, like, these decisions really, it's life or death. You
Yeah.
know, as a female, being out and partying can be life or death. You don't know who's watching you, who admires you, who wants to do harm to you. It's important to stay, honestly, on point, and a lot of that times means being sober or having designated sober friend, or everybody in the crew can't be drunk. Somebody got to watch out for you.
Yeah, and it's even hard too, because with that girl that got stabbed in Brooklyn, it's like you're watching the footage. This guy was partying it up at some party, decided he wanted to go out and be ignorant, and then it's like somebody actually brought up the point too that his friends just left him there. Like, they tried to calm him down, they couldn't, and just left him. Like, how do you do that? So it's like decisions. Everything is a decision, but then it's like there's some things that are so out of your control. It's like, wow.
Oh, yeah. There's so many things that are out of your control. You never know what's going to happen to you at any given moment. So it's really up to you. And I think that's the theme of the show. Like, honestly,
It's really up to you, yeah.
It's up to you.
I've seen a lot of stuff. I remember one time I was in LA, and these girls was like, yeah, I want Cristal. And I'm sitting there looking, and a couple of dudes is over there, what? Are we gonna get this? No, I want Cristal. You want Cristal, girl? So he was like, yeah, I want Cristal. All right, cool. So I see him walk to the bar, then I don't see him for a couple of minutes, and I'm over at the end of the bar. I turn around, this dude is 2 bottles of Cristal, and he's crushing up ecstasy, dollar bill.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him. He was like, he knew who I was, and you know, I've seen him around before, but he knew who I was, and he's like, yeah, these thirsty ass chicks keep asking me for a drink. I got a drink for their ass, and I'm like,
I don't know
what, like, you know, and you're over there partying it up, have no idea that this guy's doing what he's doing, and now you in a situation because you want a free drink, you want,
And then,
you know. That's why I always love girls who have their own. That Usher song, How That One Go? Superstar?
Yeah.
Yes, Lord. That's my jam right there. You know what I'm saying?
Insert
Let me
clip.
tell you something. I grew up in a household where I was trained from super young. You don't put your drink down and leave it unattended.
Yeah.
As soon as I
Absolutely.
put my orange juice down around my aunt and went to the kitchen counter and came back and picked it up, it was smacked out my hand. And I say that because of what you say. You know, me running clubs, I've seen, you know, that happen where it's like Molly's are in bottles of water. I've seen somebody pick up a bottle of water with a Molly in it. I didn't know, but they're acting weird and they're like, oh, wait, he drank one of these. You know, you can OD, you can get raped, you can get jumped, anything can happen to you because you think you on the same level of people that you just acquaintances with, people that you just kind of hang out with. You think you on the same type of time. I also saw a meme that said, you're not invited to some parties because you don't do coke. And it's true. And I busted out laughing because you want to be in certain rooms with certain people, but the reason why you don't have access to those rooms is you're not on the same time as they are. You're not doing them type of drugs. You're not popping it, or, you know.
And they know you're not like that.
You say that makes me think. We was in LA for the first time going to an after party, right? So we went out at like 11 o'clock. You know, we on our New York time. We go out at 11 o'clock. By 12:15, I think 1 o'clock, not even 12:30 or whatever, the lights are on in the club. So we like, yo, we just got here. I thought this club closed at 2. They like, oh, they shut the lights off an hour before. So we like, what? So everybody was like, don't worry, we'll go to the after party. Da, da. So I was like, all right, cool. Went to the after party up in the hills. We get there, going in. Celebrities out the ass. Like, it was everybody that was everybody. I was like, oh, we in the party. We at the party. Then you see, like, you know, coke on the table. You seen different things. You seen guys with guys, girls with girls, you know, and they kind of like, then it was like when us four walked in, it was like, what are they doing?
No, like
who invited them? Are they gonna tell? You know, like, so I'm like
oh,
like,
the
what?
DND they
So
felt.
it kind of gave us a you know, an ill feeling when we went in there because we was like, because everybody just was looking at us. We was like, oh, I don't think this the party. Y'all ready to get out of here?
To a spot where you're like, just don't touch anything.
Yeah, and we never were invited again. Never again. But it was weird to see it. I don't want to name any names because it was kind of crazy, but it was different, and I wasn't privy to that crowd.
Yeah,
you know
like I don't want to be part of that.
It was wild.
Like eyes wide shut type of vibe.
Yeah, it was.
I'm telling
like
you.
that. Like if you would have walked in there, you'd have been like, oh, that's, and you know, and I was like, because that's how I was. I was looking at, but when we walked in, it was like everybody in the room just like turned around and was looking like not even looking like.
You suddenly
They was
light
like,
in such a dark place.
Wait, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
Type of thing, and we felt the vibe like immediately, and like I think within 15 seconds we walked back out the door.
You're like, nah, I'm good. But those are the type of decisions you have to make. It's all right to back on up. It's like being at the top of a roller coaster ride. You know, those kids
like, well, you already there.
I'm going to go down.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down. And it's okay. You can't feel bad about that and let people say what they're going to say. You know what I'm saying? That's where the peer pressure hit. Do you have the emotional intelligence to make these type of decisions for yourself?
Yep.
Even though you might feel that something is off, but do you care more about how you feel or about what people think about you?
Yep.
I care about how I feel.
Right.
That
You know,
gut
back in the
feeling.
days, you know, being in the light, I used to worry about what people think about me. But after going through some of the things that I went through, I was like, I don't even worry about that.
Right, and then just figuring out that everybody's going through their own thing and it has nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
Word. And you only live this life. You got to deal with yourself. You got to look
Yep.
inward. You're the one that's alone with your thoughts at night, having nightmares, having dreams. And let me tell you something. My psyche can't handle all that extra stuff because I am an overthinker. I will go so far down the rabbit hole, I won't even know who I am.
Yeah.
All right, so I try not to do things or partake in things that are going to make me feel bad about myself.
Yep.
You heard? So I think that was a good, nice conversation. We got deep with it.
Yeah.
All right, but I mean, I'm looking to see what happens with Diddy. You know, like I said, I pray for his family because he does have children.
Yep.
He does have a family. He does have people that rely on him. I pray for his peace of mind because also you never know when somebody's going through something this deep. They can also take their own lives from how the pressure is mounting. And again, we have to realize that this is a civil case. This is not criminal, not yet. They might be building a criminal case, but in the meantime, guys, we all make mistakes. We all partake in something that you wouldn't want to come to light. And we just found out earlier that, you know, before this week, cheating on your wife or your husband was illegal. Okay?
Bring
So
it back.
I'm gonna just leave you with that. All right? So we're gonna cut out of here. You remember, I'm your girl, Chrys Childs, Principal Why Do Not Ask Me Why, and I'm here with
Sophie Dash with 2 E's.
Mr. Keeyzo with 2 E's.
You heard? We just gotta tell you how to spell it because we want to make sure you stay in
Listen,
tune.
don't put
Make
one.
sure you go to FUBURadio.com, hit us up on the socials, stay involved in the conversation. All right, but for now, we out. Let us know what you think. Did he do it or did he not? You heard?
Hey.